people want transparency. And you woe to the politician who's on the wrong side of transparency. The other big news this week is the arrest of Prince Andrew, he's no longer a prince, by British authorities for allegations related to misconduct in office that were highlighted in the Epstein file release that recently took place just a few weeks ago. And it looked like Epstein was sharing confidential information with Epstein because Prince Andrew at the time was a government official. He was an envoy for the United Kingdom. Epstein was directing meetings abroad with Chinese officials. Just really, forget about the sex side of it. It just the kind of the insider corruption side of it seemed rather substantial. So we had this extraordinary moment of the brother of the king being arrested on criminal charges. Now, it may not be a big deal here in the United States, but in terms of world history, it's a pretty big deal. And it's all because of the release of these documents. And there have been other materials that have come, or other information that's come out as it relates to American figures that have raised additional questions about criminality. For instance, the former Obama White House counsel, there are questions about what she shared with Jeffrey Epstein about a Secret Service scandal, and where you had Secret Service agents who were using prostitutes while they were supposed to be protecting the president or prepping to protect the president, Obama. I think it was in Colombia. And there were games about whether White House advanced officials, or at least one person, was involved in that as well. And there was kind of a cover-up on it. And she was in contact with him about that issue, supposedly after she left, but it raises questions about what sort of contacts she had while she was still in government. So that's just one example. And, you know, I know President Trump is very frustrated about this Epstein issue because it's kind of engulfed his presidency. I exaggerate, but it's been a big issue. And I don't think he obviously doesn't like it, but he should really blame the Justice Department and the FBI for screwing it up. I mean, first of all, Attorney General Bondi said she had all these documents on her desk. They weren't on her desk. And then they released documents that had largely been released, suggesting more was coming. It was a complete mess. Judicial Watch asked for records, couldn't get any. We had to sue. We still haven't gotten one record under FOIA, by the way. And then the FBI and Justice Department leaked this memo, you may recall, saying, we looked at the material. There's no predicate for any other criminal investigations, and we're not going to release anything else. And there was a public uproar. And it really hasn't abated. It led to almost a unanimous vote by Congress to force the transparency, require transparency about the decision. And President Trump rightly signed it. And he was right to reject the FBI and Justice Department in signing it, because that's what it was. It was a rejection of what the FBI and Justice Department did, and the president signed it. Now, he could have signed it, he could have not signed it, maybe his veto would have been overridden, or he could have said, I'm not signing it, let it go into law, I'm going to fight it because it impairs my operations as President of the United States. You're asking for documents you don't have the right to. Congress can't mandate the release of this information. There could have been all sorts of fights. But he signed it, and they pushed hard to get the records out. But it shows you that transparency matters, and that the concerns about Epstein and who he was dealing with were well-founded. I mean, Andrew was arrested for, corruption while in office or something similar like that. There's enough evidence in there to suggest that he was involved in the sex trafficking in a way that was inappropriate or perhaps illegal. Same goes for certain American citizens as well. And, and we're still getting the runaround on records. So just 2 days before they released the 3.5 million records, they're telling a court in Judicial Watch's case for these very records, they're still looking for records. So which is it? They're releasing all the records, or they're still looking for them? CIA has records, or they are looking for records about Epstein. We don't have CIA documents. They're not part of this group of records that have been released. Judicial Watch is suing them in court. And when you look at what's in the 3.5 million records, if the CIA doesn't have records, then the CIA should be shut down, because Epstein must have been on their radar. Must have been on their radar. So this Epstein issue is a big issue, and I've told politicians of both political parties, no one wants to listen. Transparency is extremely important to the American people. Of course, we know that here at Judicial Watch. We do hundreds of Freedom of Information Act cases. I mean, I probably have 8 press releases here just from FOIA lawsuits from the last few weeks. I'm not going to be able to get to them all. We do them by the dozens. And we are the most widely supported organization in the country, grassroots-wise, I would submit. And all we do, and I'm exaggerating because we do more than just this, is we sue for records. Of course, we sue to uphold the law in elections and other things and protect civil rights and such, but hundreds, thousands of lawsuits over the years on FOIA. And people want transparency. And you woe to the politician who's on the wrong side of transparency. Now, the president's been vindicated largely by these records and other reporting. And what's clear in these records is that the usual suspects in terms of, generally speaking, left of center folks were in bed with Epstein. Who was corrupt as it comes. It's clear he was as corrupt as it comes. In terrible, terrible ways, certainly with the sex crimes. So Judicial Watch's lawsuit on the Epstein records is going to continue. And I know people are saying, well, what's been redacted? There's no way under the transparency law, or there's no apparent way under the transparency law passed by Congress on the Epstein records for that law to be enforced. I mean, I guess Congress can withhold funds or whatever as punishment for not releasing the records, but there's no vehicle to sue to get the records under that law. But there is a vehicle to sue under FOIA, which is where we are. So if you want to know what's being withheld and why, what they searched for, and who did the search and how it was conducted, it's going to be Judicial Watch FOIA lawsuit, in theory. But in the meantime, they haven't given us one record, which I think tells you something, right? So I'll keep you updated as events warrant, but this Epstein story ain't going away. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.